Welcome to our Stop Food Waste Day webinar with myself. My name is Matt. I am the Partnership and Engagement Manager here at Recorra. And I also have with me the lovely Chris and Dee from Plan Zheroes, who I will introduce to you later on and give you a little bit more information about our partnership and the wonderful work that they do. I'm very excited for today. So let's crack on with this. I'm just going to go very quickly through the agenda of things that we are going to talk about. So we will first be looking at food waste within the UK as a whole, and then a little bit about food segregation and what we do here at Recorra. And then we will look into the work that Plan Zheroes do, and then there will be time at the end for you to ask any questions that you may have regarding food recycling, food waste, trying to home surplus food, and ways that you can kind of help yourself within the office and at home. So firstly, I have a first question for you, and it's this one here, which is, how much money do you think we waste by throwing food away in the UK? So you've got 8 billion, 14 billion, and 22 billion pounds. I'd like you in the chat, just very quickly, to pop A, B, or C, and let me know how much you think we waste by clicking on one of these. So we've got a C, some C's. Let me crack the chat up and I will have a look. A couple of B's in there as well. The answer to this one is B, 14 billion pounds. So within the UK, we throw away 14 billion pounds worth of food that we decide not to eat, that we buy, and then we throw at the back of the fridge and we leave for a couple of weeks. So it's really important that when we are purchasing our food, we are paying attention to what we're going to eat, we're meal prepping that, and making sure that it isn't going to waste. And if it is going to waste, what can we do with it? So there are a couple of options. Within your office space, I'm hoping that most of you that are on this webinar have food recycling with us. So I'm going to very quickly go through what we do with our food waste recycling. This is obviously what we do when it leaves through a bin. We have a zero to landfill policy with all of our recycling and waste. So with our food, we send it to an anaerobic digestion plant. This is basically a large stomach, and the food is picked up from our trucks, goes to this anaerobic digestion plant, and it is converting that food waste into biogas and sort of biofertilizer. So that biogas that is produced when it ferments goes back into the national grid, whereas your fertilizer that is used to grow more food. So there is a circular economy there with more food being created. And there's also that energy that is produced to go back into the national grid and kind of producing energy, which is great. So I'm hoping that this will help you understand that we don't want anything to be sitting on landfills. We don't want it to be throwing into a general waste bin. It is really important that you place your food into a food recycling bin if it is unable to be used for consumption. But we will have a little bit more of a talk about consumption shortly. Important things for me. So before I pass you over to Plan Zheroes, these are some things that you can do to help us when it comes to recycling. So reduce your contaminants. So any tissues, any compostable cutlery, anything of that sort cannot go into that food waste bin. It's really important that it is just food in that bin. Sometimes tea bags are allowed, but they are the only sort of non-food material that you can place in there. Any compostable materials, packaging, please make sure that you're separating them. Within your office space and at home, please make sure with your bins that you are structuring them so that our food waste is always available. It's really important that you have a food waste bin in your kitchen areas, at your tea points, where food is being consumed, so that the public and your staff have that opportunity to reduce that food and make sure that it's being recycled properly. And then finally, clean and dry. So this isn't necessarily food related, but it is really, really important that with your recyclables, you are cleaning them and keeping them as dry as possible. So if that does mean that you're taking that food out and you're placing that food into the food bin before you recycle the other items, such as your containers, please do this too, because it is really important for us when it comes to recycling. And finally, on my end, our partnership with Plan Zheroes. So we started our partnership back in November into December. That was the beginning of it, to start of 2024. And it is a new partnership that we have with the lovely Plan Zheroes, where we help to fight the waste of food and make sure that we're looking after our local communities and charities through food collections and donations. So Zheroes will tell you a little bit more about what they do, and I'm really, really excited that they are here. But thank you very much for coming, guys. I'm going to pass over now. Hopefully the camera will move over and we'll shuffle around ever so slightly, and we'll let you continue.
Okay, so I'm Chris from Plan Zheroes, and I'm here with Dee. Thank you very much to Matt and Recorra for inviting us along today. We're really happy to be here. And yeah, we're going to tell you about Plan Zheroes. First of all, our funny name, Plan Zheroes. It's all about inspiring people to become zero food waste heroes. So this is our beautiful planet. Unfortunately, we're not looking after it very well, and we're not looking after the people who live on it very well either. And just to tell you how we got started, round about the time of the sort of 2008, 2009 financial crash, we started hearing about supermarkets throwing good food away, going to landfill. And around about that time, we came across a family, a single mother with 3 children in London. And this woman couldn't afford to give each of her children a hot meal every day. They had to take it in turns. And we thought, this is just crazy, because we know there's a supermarket just down the road throwing away perfectly good food. So we really want to do something about this. None of us had any experience of starting a charity or the food industry. We just felt this is just a crazy situation. Let's see what we can do to improve the situation. So next slide. We've got 2 aims. So firstly, we want to stop good food from going to landfill. And secondly, we want to get it to people affected by food poverty. And what we do is really, really simple. We'll connect any kind of business with any kind or amount of food to any kind of charity that needs it. And the main tool that we use, or unfortunately, I have to say it's not working at the moment, but the main tool that we use is this platform. And on this platform, businesses can post a notification to charities whenever they have surplus food to donate. And I'm just going to show you very quickly how it works, so you can see how quick and easy it is. So if you're a business, you can go to this page, you can enter the kind of food that you want to donate, so in this case, potatoes. We document the category of food, so in this case, fruit or veg. We can add additional information here about maybe where the food needs to be collected from. Maybe there's an access situation at the building where you work and you need to give permission. We collect data about the weight of the food because we run reports for businesses and for ourselves. You can also add a second category of food here, or a third if you like. And then in most cases, charities collect the food. But sometimes businesses can deliver. We put the collection date and the time that the food needs to be collected. And then this notification can go out to charities up to 30 kilometers radius away, or you can choose one particular charity if you want to support one charity. And then we tick on the terms and conditions, and then we just click on post donation. And this then generates an email that goes out to all of the charities that you selected. And it's done on a first come, first served basis. So when the first charity has claimed the food, it means that no other charities can then claim it. So in most cases, we don't actually see the food. We don't collect it, we don't store it, we don't deliver it. What we do really is we're kind of acting as a broker or a matchmaker between the businesses that have got the food and the charities that need it. So the exception to this is we have food collections in London at Borough Market, and also the Real Food Market at King's Cross. And what happens there is we've got teams of volunteers who collect food from traders at the end of the day, and then we distribute it to local charities. And we've got a video coming up shortly which will show one of those charities in action. Okay, so that's essentially what we do. I'm going to hand over to Dee now, and we've got another small quiz for you.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. So Matt has already run through a few food waste facts. So let's have a quick go all together at answering a few questions from ourselves. We've uploaded these questions as a poll, so I hope you can all see that. Please do take part. Okay. So question number 1, how much food waste is generated annually in the UK from households and businesses? And this is in million tonnes. So is it 5 million tonnes, B, 7 million tonnes, C, 9.5 million tonnes, or D, 12 million tonnes? Got the answers coming in.
Yeah. So we've got
Brilliant.
63% there on 9.5, and then a couple on 7 million and 12 million.
So most of you answered correctly. 9.5 million tonnes is wasted by households and businesses in the UK every year. So 70% of that was intended to be eaten by people. Okay. Question 2, what percentage of total food produced globally is lost or wasted? Is it A, 10%, B, 20%, C, 25%, or D, 25 to 30%? Super. Okay, so the majority of you again got D, 25 to 30%. And this includes overproduction to make sure that quotas are fulfilled, issues relating to harvesting and strict cosmetic standards from supermarkets. It also includes food waste during processing and production of food at industrial level, all the way to food wasted at domestic level. Okay, so well done on that. Question 3, what percentage of total man-made greenhouse gas emissions does food waste contribute to? Is it A, 1 to 2%, B, 3 to 4%, C, 8 to 10%, or D, 10 to 20%? Gosh, you're all on it today, aren't you? You're right, it's C, 8 to 10%. And we've got this stat from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which estimates that food waste contributes to 8 to 10% of total man-made greenhouse emissions. It's not a small amount. Okay, last question from us for now. If food waste were a country, where would it rank in terms of being a producer of greenhouse gas emissions? Would it be A, the second largest, B, the third largest, C, the fifth largest, or D, the 10th largest? Bit of an abstract one, this one. Very good, guys. So if food waste were a country, it would be the world's third largest emitter after China and the USA. So thanks, everyone. Now we can see that food waste is an enormous concern globally, as well as closer to home, and the impacts it has, not just on us financially, but things like greenhouse emissions, which is also huge as well. Okay, so this is the food waste pyramid, and this has come from RAP. And it shows that the absolute best thing that we can do to prevent food waste is to prevent it from happening in the first place. If you can't prevent it, then it makes sense to give that surplus food to people, which is where our organisation, Plan Zheroes, comes in. So whilst surplus food should never be the solution to hunger, our simple but innovative offering means that we can prevent good food from going into landfill and we can get it to people that need it instead. If food can't be utilised by people and if it can't be sent to animal feed, it can be recycled, which is where our partners Recorra come in with their innovative technology to convert that food into biofuel. Oh, and compost as well. I'm just going to touch a little bit about how we work with businesses. We work with a huge variety of businesses that have surplus food. So anywhere from restaurants to markets, wholesalers, even food stylists. If an organisation has surplus food, we are really happy to connect it to people that need it and get it to good causes. A large proportion of our food actually comes from offices like the ones that are on the screen at the moment. We can redirect surplus food from office canteens, from board meetings, from events. And some of the businesses we have here actually have their in-house catering provided by a company called Grayson's. And it literally just takes meeting that one contact to get introductions to other businesses that can connect us with surplus food. Okay, so this is blank at the moment, but I'll press play in just a sec. Thanks, Matt. So how does what we do help people in our communities? Getting great surplus food to great causes means that charities can keep their own running costs down and manageable whilst running their outreach services. I'm about to show you a short video which shows how invaluable our surplus food collections from businesses and markets that we coordinate are to service users of a fantastic organisation called Oasis Waterloo.
The main purpose of Plan Zheroes is to link food businesses with charities to ensure that no good food goes to waste. We work at Borough Market, which is our flagship, and also we work at King's Cross. Plan Zheroes helps charities like Oasis by providing them with the surplus food that they need to feed their beneficiaries. So that might be from a market or also could be using our online platform. So Borough Market is the start of the surplus food journey, from the traders to Plan Zheroes to the charities. At Borough Market alone, we have collected 84,000 tonnes of food, which equates to 200,000 frontline meals.
So once a week we go down to Borough Market and we'll meet Plan Zheroes there. They all have grabbed all the food from all the different markets and it'll be ready for us to collect. With our connection with Plan Zheroes, what we've been able to do is we've collected surplus from all over and we've brought it back here and we're sharing that with the community. So we're here today at the Oasis Centre. So what we do is with the surplus we've gotten throughout the week, we've collected all that, we've weighed it in, we'll make a nice display so that people can see what we've got. We'll give them a nice little shopping basket, we weigh that and then they can take it home.
The perception about food waste, that it's stuff that's mouldy and that you wouldn't want to use it, but actually it's quite the opposite. We've got really good vegetables and fruit that would be a luxury to a lot of people. We pick up croissants, we pick up bread, scones, pastries, some really good produce.
Plan Zeroes helps Oasis connect, to surplus food just so easily. They've connected us through their online platform, through just being able to say, yep, I want that, I'm in the area, I can collect that right now, to the lovely food that we can get at Borough Market. They always go the extra mile for you, and they're really supportive in making sure, they work with your process too. So we're really grateful for them.
Handing out all this lovely food that's been given so kindly by these businesses. They've given that away. That's generosity, that's hospitality. So they're the people really that we've got to thank. I just think they're doing a great job. We would like more people to be looking through their cupboards and thinking, what have I got in my cupboard that I'm not going to use, and then I'm just going to throw it away. And before I throw it away, could I take it to the community fridge? And also inspiring people that are already a community and thinking, oh, that's a good idea. How could we come together and start our own community fridge on our council estate, or in our flats, or in our residential home? If we could do that, what a good job that would be.
So, why would we like businesses to work with us? Well, obviously it's really important to try and minimise the amount of surplus food going to landfill. Registering with us is very quick and easy. And once you've registered, as we've shown earlier, the process of actually posting a notification about the food is very quick and easy. And the benefits to companies are very quantifiable. So we run reports to show the amount of food that's been donated, and we can convert this into equivalent meals and equivalent CO2 emissions saved. So companies can promote their green credentials in a very clear, tangible way. And one of the ways that this kind of affects things is that companies, when they receive the reports, often realise how much surplus food they're generating. And that can lead them to review how much food they are creating, and actually reduce the amount of surplus, which is great. Obviously, we want to have as little food as possible being sent to landfill. The downside, of course, means that charities can't receive that surplus food. But as Dee said earlier, surplus food shouldn't be seen as a solution to food poverty. But obviously, if it does exist, then the best thing that we can do is to get it to charities. So, this is a report that we sent to Bella Zoo, the ingredient company, about how much food they donated. Moving on. So this is the impact that we've had to date. We're a very small team, but we have a big impact. And we're different to a lot of the other food redistribution organisations like Fair Share and Felix Project, in that we can handle smaller amounts of perishable food. We're very lean and efficient and modest. We've got no significant overheads for office space. We all work remotely. We don't have storage, we don't have transport. So all the money that we receive goes directly into keeping surplus food out of landfill and getting it to people who need it. And actually, support for us is supporting all the charities that we provide food for. It's the only reason that we exist. So you can help us in different ways. Firstly, by donating. So it'd be great if you've got surplus food to donate. You can also help us by volunteering at our market collections. So we've recently started regular volunteering opportunities for teams at companies called Multiplex and GPE. You can also help us if you've got expertise in different areas. So we're always looking for help with things like social media or report writing or strategy or design or IT. We're always happy to receive cash donations. News UK for example, pay us $10 for every volunteering hour that their people give us at Borough Market, which is great. We also welcome any donations from any fundraising activities that you would like to organise on our behalf. So people have done sponsored runs, sponsored swims, cake sales, quiz nights, etc. One man from L'Oreal did a kind of a sponsored beer drinking activity where he drank 100 pints of beer and raised money for us. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but we were very happy to receive it. We also run CSR events, volunteering events, which are great fun for team building and provide us with fundraising opportunities. So we've got one called the Great Surplus Food Hunt, where we send out teams of people in a kind of an apprentice style challenge to sign up businesses for our platform to start donating. And another one that we do is called Feeding the Community, which is where teams of volunteers collect food in the afternoon and then take it to a charity the next day where they cook it and meet the service users, the guests at the charity. So that's a really nice thing to do as well. In addition, we're always looking for corporate partnerships or to be a nominated charity. So corporate partnerships are really important for us in helping to support our running costs. As I said earlier, we've got no kind of significant overheads, but we still need money to cover our staff costs. And also we're in the process of undertaking a big IT overhaul at the moment, so we're looking for support for that as well. If you'd like to get involved, please do get in touch. There'll be an email address on the last slide here that you can make a note of. So yeah, that's basically us. There's always something new and exciting happening in the world of Plan Zero. So at the moment, we're working with a US charity called Musically Fed. They're based in Phoenix, Arizona, and they arrange for bands and musicians to donate food from concerts. And we identify charities that can receive that food and benefit from it. So a while ago, we helped with concerts from the 1975. And coming up next month, Eric Clapton is doing his UK tour, and we're going to be finding charities for that, including one date in Dublin. So this will be the first time that we've actually helped with charities outside the UK, which is very exciting. And finally, for me, just to say that it doesn't just have to be food. So because we act as a broker between people who've got food and people who need food, it can also be things like non-food items such as toiletries we get from hotels, or clothing, or computer equipment, or furniture, or really anything that a charity can benefit from, and will save them money. So yeah, it's not just food. So that's everything from us. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks again, Matt and Recorra. And yeah, we'll take any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. I'm going to slide this round so we're all in view. I'm going to jump round. We have a couple of questions already, so we will jump onto those ones. But Lauren has asked, what is the minimum number of items / amount of food that Plan Zeroes would accept?
There is no minimum.
There's no minimum and there's no maximum. Yeah, it can be anything. Because we deal with individual charities and they all need help, particularly at the moment, you know, they're all struggling with cost of living, etc. Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple of sandwiches. And because the notification goes out, they know exactly what's being offered, so they can decide whether they'd like to have it or not.
Yeah, definitely.
But generally, about 80% of the food that's offered is accepted. Yeah.
And then the other question is from Adam, who said, do you see other competitors such as like Felix Project and Fair Share? Do you see them as competitors, and could the food not be collected by them through the platform?
Good question.
Yeah.
we don't believe in competition, we believe in collaboration. So we work very, very closely with Fair Share, Felix Project, City Harvest. And essentially the way it works is because they tend not to take smaller amounts of perishable food, we kind of handle that side of things. If we get an amount of food that's very, very large and would be too big for one particular charity, then we'll refer it to Fair Share or City Harvest. So yeah, that's how it works. But yeah, definitely no competition. No. Collaboration is the key.
Because you all have the same goal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. But if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat now, even if it is regarding the lovely work that Plan Zeroes do, or if it's regarding recycling foods, let us know. There's quite a few. Tangibly related, have any of you heard any updates about when the legislation on food recycling being mandatory for business in England will begin to be enforced? It is one for us, but it keeps changing, so who actually knows anymore? If I remember correctly, it's meant to be the end of this year. It did jump from 22 to 23 to 24. So if things are going to plan, it should be the end of this year.
Okay.
But it might jump to 25 again. Unfortunately, it does keep changing. But I will keep a lookout, and I will let you know when we get a confirmation. It will definitely be comms that Recorra posts to all of our clients with regards to food recycling. Definitely. Lauren has asked, is this available outside of London, in the region / rural areas around the UK?
Plan Zeroes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the UK, yeah. So we use it. We've got a community map which we didn't show today, but yeah, we can help with food in any location because we don't see it, we don't collect it, etc. And we're just connecting people. Yeah, it can work absolutely anywhere.
Nice.
Including Dublin.
Yeah. And then finally, Adam has asked, what does a corporate partnership look like with yourselves?
Well, it can take different forms, really. I mean, as we've got the partnership with Recorra, we can arrange activities, we can do presentations, we can talk about our work, you can help us with fundraising, you can help us with skills that you've got. We're open to suggestions. So yeah, it's just nice to be working with different companies and raising the profile about what we do.
Definitely.
Yeah, so get in touch and we can have a conversation about that. I think essentially all of our corporate partnerships have always been quite bespoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the kind of final thing for me is, as someone who regularly sees a lot of the office spaces through doing recycling improvements sessions and strategies and spending time with our clients, which I'm assuming a lot of the people watching are, we see a lot of food that is left over from cafes, restaurants, kind of canteens within office spaces, retailers, and a lot of it probably doesn't end up going to a home or to somewhere that will be used rather than recycling or waste. So if you have lots of food and you're in that position to make the swap over, and you are the one in charge of doing that, we'd be really, really grateful. If you can have a look at Plan Zeroes and add that to your regular kind of organization rather than just deciding to bin it. But yeah, that's for me, I see quite a lot of that in food waste. So yeah, definitely a much better approach. So thank you. I think we have one more, which is Annie saying, how can we get in touch? So I think if you have any information that you would like to discuss with Plan Zeroes, use that email.
Yeah, info@planzeroes.org. Yeah.
And you can have a look on the website too. And then anything regarding recycling, come to me. My details are on the invite for this webinar. Karen's asked if there's any issues around health and safety.
Very good question, which I didn't mention. Yeah, the way we get round that, well, no, we don't get round it. The answer to that question is we have two sets of agreements. So all the charities that we work with sign a legally binding agreement which states that they take full responsibility for the safety of the food from the moment they receive it. And on the other side, the businesses also sign a legally binding agreement which states that they'll only provide food that's good for people to eat. So yeah, I mean, this is often a concern for businesses, but actually we've never ever had an issue with food safety. Also, it's worth saying that charities have food safety certificates from the local council, so there's that measure as well in place. And this is really why we decided that we wouldn't try to divert food from the home, because there are more kind of safety issues there, so we only work with businesses.
Nice. Perfect. Lauren, one for Recorra. Should home compostable items still not be put in a food waste bin? Do they just end up being in the general waste? So there is definitely a very large kind of difference between things that are seen as home compostable and food waste. Compostable items such as your like vegware containers or napkins of that sort, they have to go into a specialized compostable stream. They cannot go into that food bin. There are some items that potentially can go into one at home, but for our contamination rules, and so that things are kind of in order, we'd like all our food to stay separate from that compostable packaging. So any form of home compostable packaging needs to go into a dedicated bin for that, to be sent to specialists to be turned back into that material. If they just go in a normal food bin, then they will be sifted out and probably end up going into general waste, sort of like energy from waste and incineration, rather than going into sort of the dedicated stream to create a bit of a circular economy on them. So yeah, it's really important that where possible, food is separate from the packaging that it comes in, even if it's compostable. I hope that answers that question. But yeah, any further, please do let us know. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Plan Zheroes, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. We do webinars every single month, so if you are interested in coming to the next one, we will send out all the information for that. And thank you everyone for coming today, and take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.